This is the Voice of the Land podcast with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Nick Paulus.
The NFL draft has come and gone here on the shores of Lake Erie in downtown Cleveland, and now 4 months sits between us and the next football season to see what some of these rookies, free agents, and current team members are going to do for our Browns and across the NFL. And with that, we welcome you to another edition of the Voice of the Land here on the Big Play Network and partnered with LPV Productions. And we are now brought to you by Vector Technical. The right person, the right place, the right time. And we will have more information on that moving forward later on in the show. I am one of your hosts, Kevin Arnold. Alongside me, as always, my draft guru brother, Nick Paulus, and our producer extraordinaire, Peter Tellep, behind that proverbial glass. We are here for our NFL Draft Review Special. It is going to be football, NFL Draft centric throughout the show, throughout our next hour with all of you here tonight. We want to welcome everyone tuned in on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Sportscaster, whether you're following us at VTL_pod or like us on Facebook at Voice of Land, like the Big Play page at Big Play, and of course their YouTube page at Big Play Live. And to all those that tune into the audio every single week and reach out to Paulus and hound him to get that audio posted when he's behind, Anthony.
Yeah.
We of course welcome you listening on Google, Spotify, Apple, or any of your favorite major podcast platforms. You can always reach out to us during the show through any of those live streams. We'll try to get to as many of your comments as possible. Let us know what you thought about the Browns picks throughout. Give your grade. We'll give our grades for the draft as well. Or maybe biggest surprise, biggest reach of the draft across the NFL, any takes that you may have, or share your NFL draft experiences with us, because we will get into some measurables for one of the members of the show later on in the program. But before we get into all of that, I do want to shout out the city of Cleveland for shining bright, even through the rain on Thursday, and as the sun came out on Friday and rainbows were over First Energy Stadium, and the sunshine on Saturday, Cleveland really, we always know how beautiful Cleveland is here in the city, but really put a stamp on how much we have grown over the last several years, and especially in a pandemic era, first live draft since the pandemic started. Of course, Cleveland really putting their stamp in the national perspective. We will talk about that later on as well. Do need to start with the Browns, and the Browns had a first-round pick later on in the draft, which is new for all of us.
Very strange.
Oh, yeah. Waiting for them to pick, was it, were you just anticipating the pick? Did it seem like too long until that time? Like, what was that initial reaction to kind of like when it finally hit you? Wow, we're a good team. We picked late in the draft, and it started 2 hours ago, and we're probably still an hour and a half away from picking.
I'm not going to lie. It was very weird, very strange feeling. It kind of felt like we belong here finally. It took forever. It took, 21 years or 22 years since we've been back in the league, and really the first time that we've ever been this far back in the draft because of how well we've done. So it definitely was different, but it felt good. It felt right. It felt like to have someone like a Greg Newsome, and I'm sure, we're going to be jumping into that here in a second, but to have someone like him fall to us, like to feel that sort of relief, like, oh my God, we finally got the guy that we wanted, and he fell to us. Like, this happens to the Steelers, to the Ravens. Like, they don't have to trade up and get someone. And if they do trade up, they're jumping us to get that person, So that never happened before for us. And finally, we're the ones that can sort of, take it all in, relax. We'll draft our guy because of how stacked we are. We can really go at any position and be totally fine with it. It was such a relieving sort of feeling.
Yeah, it really was it was relieving, but it did get to a point of, like, as these picks started to roll off and these teams, once the quarterbacks went, especially once Justin Fields was selected, because at that point I kind of knew Mac Jones is going to the Patriots.
Well, at that point in time, whenever you saw the tea leaves starting to come out for it, it was just an easy option for Bill to pick him up at 15.
Yeah, so you get to pick 11 with the Bears, and taking Justin Fields,
trading up to get him.
I think it was 9 spots. They were in 20.
Yeah, they were at the 20 spot.
20 spot. You just started to look like, oh, okay, like this is what a draft really feels like when you do have to sit there. But it was the patience and the veteran-esque style leadership from Andrew Berry to just let the draft fall to you. Like, that's another thing we're not used to. The good teams have general managers, they have front offices that are so willing to do that, to let the draft board fall as it will, because they know that there's going to be a reach or two above them. Quarterbacks are going to have to go. There's going to be top 15, top 16 talent that falls to you in the end of the first round. I don't know if anybody expected that top 15 talent falling to 50 picks into the draft. But
unbelievable.
Another kudos to Andrew Berry. And, of course, congratulations to him and his wife, Britton, on the birth of their third child, I think Eden Ruth Berry, born in the morning of draft day. So a good omen for the Browns there.
He had a long day. Well, his wife had an even longer day, that's for sure. We have to, shout out to them for sure.
Give credit to Britton.
No doubt. It's so, once again, it's so relieving to have that sort of feeling, but to see our GM not only show patience, but then the second day be aggressive. It's weird to know, we have the right guys in place. And going into this offseason, I think we all felt really good, especially after winning, essentially 12 games, one of the playoff games, there for us in Pittsburgh, breaking the Pittsburgh streak finally. And really, just seeing Ben cry on the field was, great. But it's such a nice, awesome, amazing moment to know that Andrew Berry is the exact person that you want to have as your GM.
Yeah.
And then, to have the belief in structure that Andrew has in Kevin Stefanski, knowing that you can, pick up someone like an Anthony Schwartz in the third round, which some people were saying, it wasn't a reach or anything like that, but the guy, he's not the best at catching the ball, and as a wide receiver, that's, what you kind of have to do. He did a lot of jet sweeps in college. The guy runs a 4.25. Give him the ball and just say, hey, run with it. But to know that you draft someone like that and say, you know what, I trust you, Kevin Stefanski, and your coaching staff to get this guy prepared, because you drafted him in the third round. Guess what? He's going to need to be prepared, because eventually down the road here in the next year or two, we're not going to be paying 2 wide receivers $15 million apiece. This guy's going to need to step up and be at least a solid number 2 or an amazing slot. And I think he can be that. But, I mean, if he has faith that he can develop Anthony Schwartz into being a solid number 2, like that Mercole Hardman, I don't think he'll ever be Tyreek Hill, but he has the speed of Tyreek Hill. That's what you kind of hope, that he might be able to become, that Mercole Hardman. That's what you're really hoping he becomes.
Yeah, that is somebody that you are hoping that an Anthony Schwartz kind of becomes. So as we kind of dig in and really switch gears to the Browns and what they were able to do, sitting around in round 1, you get a guy that you thought was going to go in the teens or maybe, a couple picks earlier to Tennessee. Greg Newsome II, the cornerback out of Northwestern at 26 overall. Didn't have to trade up to get him like people thought you would have to do. Some injury concerns, not able to play full seasons at Northwestern. Of course, he did
missed a game or two.
A game or two, shed some light on missing several games his freshman year because, kind of the coaches, almost like in baseball when, they're trying to use or hold on to as many options as possible.
Yeah.
They're trying to give him as many opportunities to play as possible. He only maybe missed 2 or 3 games with an ankle injury. He was talking about how he ended up missing 8 because the coaches were talking about you could redshirt. Well, then there were so many injuries by the time they get to the Big Ten championship game, you got to bring them in. And and a dude that this year only gave up maybe 92 yards.
He wasn't a whole hell of a lot.
Didn't get.
He played on the #1 defense. That's the type of guy that you want.
Yeah, and Northwestern not only getting their first round pick ever, they're getting 2.
Rashawn Slater, yeah,
getting 2 in the first round.
Right?
I think it's Rashawn. Yeah,
it's Slater. I know that offensive tackle.
Yeah,
dude's a beast.
I mean, your thoughts on Paulus? Your thoughts on Newsome II and what he can add to this already kind of deep defensive back room?
I mean, we said it last week, right? You know, I predicted this. Now, what was it? Notra Paulus? Is that what we were coming out with?
Nostra Paulus.
Notra Nostra. But yeah, no, I once again, Greg Newsome's the guy that I wanted, and the fact that he fell to you at 26, I was thinking that you were going to have to trade up to someone like the Bears at 20 or 22 and draft him there. It made it so much sweeter to know that Andrew Berry is so much smarter than me and so much more patient to know that he's like, you know what? No, like the way the board's falling, everything's going to be fine. We'll get the guy. Some people view him as anywhere from like the number 2 to 4 corner, right around there. I think J.C. Horn was top of the class. Now, Patrick Surtain as well. Like a lot of people have those guys, you know, all mixed up right there. J.C. Horn, though, going, I think, to Carolina at 8 was surprising. I thought he went a little higher, but once again, dude's a baller.
Yeah.
Like J.C. Horn is legit.
Yes.
And then Patrick Surtain going, I believe, 9, and then completely screwing the Cowboys at 10 because they thought they were like, oh, you know what? We'll get him. Like the Cowboys could have reached at that point in time and got a Greg Newsome or someone else, of that sort of ilk. But the fact that Andrew Berry had the balls to wait and be patient, it makes everything so much sweeter about that first round. And then going into the second.
Yeah.
I do want to hear your thoughts, though, on Greg Newsome before we hop into Jock, as what Mike Rizzo's trying to call him. But we'll get into that here in a second.
That's Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Thank you. It's not hard.
I've been saying it all weekend. Hard. I heard Fontana.
Fontana was losing it. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And that's all 100%.
Yeah, that's legit.
He was struggling on that one. But Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Yeah.
Like Samoa.
Right.
That's easy.
Hey, I'll use that kind of connection all day because being a wrestling fan, Samoan drop, the great Samoans, that'll make a big connection for me. But yeah, Greg Newsome, before we do hit our first break, a little different format. So everybody coming at you guys tonight.
Yeah, we're switching it up now.
Switching it up.
Thank you, Vector.
I guess we could have surprised everybody with it, but behind the curtain, we're always behind the curtain.
Of course. Yeah.
We don't let anything, we let the cat out of the bag all the time.
No doubt.
But it's breeding competition by bringing Newsome in here. And that, there's going to be sets. There's always conflicting reports of how much we're going to go 4-2-5. 4 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs. Well, if you're going to run that from time to time, you need depth at those positions. And it's going to push a guy like Greedy. And it's going to push each of those guys to work hard. And, injuries are unfortunate. But you still have to plan for them, and this is it's kind of like a plan for it, but it's also just building a defensive back room that, look, NFL, you're a passing league. We're going to try to pass it all over the place, but we're going to try to be the team that finds a way in this new NFL era to play old school style defense. And what I mean by that is being physical at the point of attack, making guys feel you out there on the field. And this is a guy that can hit. It's Denzel Ward. We get concerned sometimes when he hits because of his frame, and he's told people, just let it go. I know my body. You don't know my body. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to put myself in a position to be successful. Newsome is just going to breed confidence and competition in that room, and he's one of the best going that you didn't think was going to be there for you. And Andrew Berry said, "You guys are all going to pass on him? Fine. More toys, more things in the closet for us to kind of use and just put guys in position to succeed." But on that note, before we do jump into some of the other Browns picks and what it means for the future of the Browns, we're going to step aside for just a few seconds to hear from our newest sponsor, Vector Technical.
Whether you're looking to hire new talent or start a new career, Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that has helped thousands of job seekers advance in their career with reputable partners throughout northeastern Ohio. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. With an above-average hire-in rate of 1 in 4 candidates, Vector works hard to connect the right person with the right opportunity the first time. Vector Technical hires for skilled manufacturing and light industrial work and is sure to have a career that you've been looking for. To learn more, visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com.
And welcome back to the Voice of the Land's NFL Draft Review Special. Kevin Arnold alongside Nick Paulus and Peter Tellup. And before the break, we were talking about the Browns picks and kind of how Andrew Berry was just was professionally patient and let the draft board kind of fall to him in the first round, getting Greg Newsome II out of Northwestern, the cornerback, and how that'll breed confidence and competition in that room. Well, some confidence and competition inside that linebacker room will come in the form of Notre Dame's linebacker. I guess people kind of call him a Swiss Army knife or a tweener coming into the draft, and maybe that's why a top 15 talent fell, but he fell only as far as 52. Brown sitting at 59 said, Carolina, we know who we want. We got a deal for you. Let's get this done. I'm sick and tired of pacing all around. We want Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, linebacker, Notre Dame, and again, a top 15 talent there for the Browns at 52. When people thought maybe the Browns didn't care about a linebacker, you get one of the best in this draft and a guy that can actually cover from the linebacker position, something we were missing at times last season, and a guy that in his press conference said one of the main things he loves to do is something the Browns don't do in the past. Tackle. My goodness, a guy that it's refreshing to hear that. Again,
No doubt.
all we can do now is hear them talk. But it's one thing to talk about it. Then the next chance that you get, when you get a chance to be about it, you have to be about it.
Right.
We'll talk about that moving forward. Your thoughts on JOK being on the Browns?
Love it. That is one of the steals of the draft in my eyes. And I'm not just saying that with brown shaded, glasses here for us, brown and orange shaded glasses.
I left those in my car.
Right. The way I look at Jock out there, and once again, Mike Rizzo's trying to start that. It's a little catchy. I'll give him that. But
Yeah.
we'll have to get it approved by Jeremiah.
He doesn't want to butcher like
I know.
Montana.
Nobody does. Nobody does. But we'll call him JOK. JOK for right now. He is 6'2", 220, 225 pounds.
Yeah.
That's a safety in my mind. Like you tell me those measurables, that's a safety. But the dude plays linebacker, and he plays linebacker tough as hell. I went back and looked at some of the highlights after literally every Browns fan did. The moment you drafted him, you got to go and check him out. And the guy is a thumper. Like, I love everything about this guy, and cutting up his post game sound for 850. The guy's funny. The guy's confident. The guy's like some people might view it as being cocky. I think he's just self-assured.
Yeah.
I think he understands what he's capable of doing out there on the field, and that's literally everything. The guy, he's the only FBS player over the last 2 years to have over 140 tackles between the 2 years, 5 forced fumbles, and 5 sacks. Like the only player in college football to do that over the last 2 years. That's the type of dude that you're getting. You're getting, we talked about it for high school football, Mr. Everything. And I guarantee you I would have called him Mr. Everything because I wouldn't have got the name right.
That's going to be a sponsorship if we do this again.
No doubt. We will. We will get that sponsorship for that. But I think the way JOK works out there on the field, Barry was already saying, it was Barry or DePodesta saying that he's going to be our linebacker. He's going to be right there. And the fact that you got him in the second round, when he was a top 20 player on a lot of people's boards, the fact he fell all that way down because some people viewed him as a tweener and weren't sure about it blows my mind. Probably the steal of the draft for us. It was fantastic.
Fantastic. pick. And, I know, friends of show, we've kind of talked to them a little bit. Girl Gang Clee, Brittany Mollis, who is a big Notre Dame fan.
Huge.
Part of the That's What B Said podcast with her and Bree, and of course, Meredith Kane on that podcast as well.
Yeah, shout out to all of them.
Yeah. I know Mollis was upset night one when they went, Newsome and no JOK. And I saw a lot of Browns fans saying, well, that's okay. Like, we'll just trade all the way up into the 30s and go get JOK. Like, we don't need all these draft picks. That's the brown and orange shaded glasses kind of take. But it's fun to kind of still have those conversations because you know that there's so much already on this team. So you can use some of those assets you have to maybe go after a guy that you really like. The Browns weren't going to do that and mortgage so much of their future, and Barry even said it before the draft even started, that, look, these draft picks, you don't want to have them be a savior or, always have this immediate and consistent impact every single down, every single game when they first start out. You want to have a culture set up, and what good teams do is have that good culture where the veterans are the ones playing, and you have these rookies who don't have a lot of pressure on them. They may start, or they may be a rotational player. Even as a first rounder, they can still have an impact, and they can learn the speed. They can learn the business, the professional, how to be a professional in the NFL when it's not all thrown at them all at once. They actually get to go through the process. Process was a word that a lot of these draft picks actually talked about, a word that was foreign or didn't like to be talked about here in Cleveland, and now
it was a naughty word.
It was a naughty word.
Naughty word.
That's the best way to say it. It was a naughty word. And now it's a
positive.
It's a positive word where people just glance over when people say it because it's like, okay, like we actually saw a process take place and what the next steps in that process look like. So he didn't want to go all the way up and mortgage future picks and those kinds of things. It's having a guy though like that everybody wanted, but he was just aggressive enough to not give up too much, and you get that kind of talent that late in the second round. Again, shows that savvy veteran that Andrew Berry already is at age 32 as a GM.
34, I believe.
34. Sorry about that.
He's the fact that he's a year 2 years older than me, like it blows my mind. He's running the Browns like my dream. It's and you know what, congrats to him. He's a hell of a guy for doing it and
running a great show.
No doubt. The best part about this pick though, and like nobody really talked about it a whole lot, it got mentioned right around then. Pittsburgh wanted to draft him at 55. Like that was the thing. We traded up from 59 to 52 just ahead of the Steelers because the Steelers.
Sly devil, you.
Andrew Berry. Oh. No, God bless you, Andrew Berry. But the fact that because the Steelers were reporting like, oh my God, I can't believe he's going to fall to 55, and it's like, got to be quicker. It's that Geico commercial. Like you got to be quicker than that. And it's just a refreshing, and we keep saying refreshing on here because it is. We are the ones that get leapfrogged. We are the ones that get jumped all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
We're finally doing the jumping. We're finally jumping and doing it at the perfect time.
Yes.
Like I can't stress that enough, that he was so patient in the first and so aggressive in the second, and to get two top 20 players, two probably going to start here for you this year.
Yep.
Like Newsome has a little bit longer of a jump because like for as much crap as we give Grady, coming back from a shoulder injury, I think Grady still has the mantra of being that corner, of being that number 2 corner to Denzel. But I'm going to tell you, like Grady, you have no days off now.
No,
and we wish you nothing but the best. We absolutely pray and hope that you come back from this 100%. Right. The last interview he gave, though, he said he was at 60%. Grady, I'm telling you right now, if you're not at 90%, Newsome's probably going to get that starting role, or at least that rotational. We talked about it last week, that rotational backup role that is going to be heavily used there for us, as it should be, because he's a first-round pick. But JOK, I think he's immediately the starter. I think he's the starter out there. If we do that 4-2-5 defense, it's going to be him and probably Anthony Walker.
Probably.
You know, I know that they love Jacob Phillips. I know that.
They do.
But, like, it's probably going to be Jock, who you got in the second round. You traded up to get the guy, so you know Barry loves the guy, and he's a baller, too. So you know, for sure. But the other thing that we haven't talked about is there's a lot of linebackers on this team. Someone's getting cut.
Yeah, and I was just about to ask you, are Taki and Mac Wilson, are the, you know, like the alarms going for them, are they kind of on that hot seat right now, just based on what the room looks like? Right,
and at this point in time, I think their ears need to be, you know, perked up, because we're not carrying 6 linebackers. Most likely we won't. And we re-signed Malcolm Smith. We have Anthony Walker, signed him to the deal in the offseason. Just picked up JOK, got Taki, got Mac. I guarantee you I'm missing someone else. Did I say Phillips?
You said Jacob Phillips a little bit earlier. Talking about how much they love him and stuff, yeah.
So we got 6 linebackers right there, okay? And if that's the case, I think you're only having 5 on this team. At the bottom of the pool right now, it's probably Mac Wilson. And I love the guy to death, but, like, what were we just talking about? Tackling?
Yeah.
Okay. If you start a game against the Ravens on a Monday night and you have 0, you go 0 for tackling, and they're running right up the gut. They had, 300 rushing yards against us that night? It was maybe not 300, but a lot. Okay. And you didn't get 1 tackle, not 1 assist, not anything. Like, I had as many tackles as you had that night. That's an issue. That is a problem, and I guarantee you.
I was frozen in my chair, and I still have as many tackles.
Right. And if JOK's out there, I feel more confident that he's going to have a tackle or 2. Now, I'm not saying that Matt can't, you know, strive to become a better player. I think he's a damn good player. And I think if he's not on our team, he's going to find another team to play for. But this team is so loaded. It's just awesome to see.
Confidence and breeding competition, bringing confidence and competition into each room and the entire locker room. That is what Andrew Berry is doing right now. Now, he said it after the draft. It doesn't translate to wins automatically. The work has still got to be put in. Kevin Stefanski talks about with every single player he interviews and every single meeting that you get the behind the scenes on, and the great behind the scenes programming that the Browns put out, building the Browns. Are you about that work? We're going to be about the work. We're not. The work will lead us to wins. But if you're not willing to work, we won't win. That's the main message. And if it's harder in practice against guys that you see every single day, and you get the offense down, you get the defense down, you know the schemes, you know the calls, you know when situations may come up where you have to make a change, you get through all of that in training camp and in practices against your own guys. That makes not the NFL game easier. It makes the progression and the process of what you go through on a daily game day format, it makes that so much easier to kind of adjust and adapt to. And yes, there's going to be some names that we've been accustomed to over the last couple of years that have helped us get to this point. You may see, just like good teams do, that surprising chopping block in training camp. It's coming. It's unfortunate. You don't want to, but it's the nature of the game. And if you're not ready, NFL, not for long, someone is going to come take your spot. That's how the game works. That linebacker room we thought was the weakest last year. Boy, we thought the defense was the weakest. Andrew Berry has put his stamp and put the emphasis on it. And it wasn't just because of 3rd and 14 in Kansas City. It was what we saw all season long. And Andrew Berry wasn't having it. Kevin Stefanski wasn't having it. Now it's on Joe Woods, who's probably loving life right now and what he has to work with next season. It's on him and that defensive coaching staff, plus Kevin Stefanski managing everything, to put all the pieces in place and put these players in the spot to succeed. We are going to hit one other break right now, and on the other side we will talk about some of the other draft picks, just kind of run through them quickly, maybe a steal or one that we weren't so high on for the Browns and around the league. You're tuned in to the Voice of the Land's NFL Draft Review Special here on the Big Play Network.
Are you struggling to hire the right talent or maybe even find the right career? Vector Technical makes it easy. Since 1992, Vector has provided Ohio employers with a reliable process for hiring and have helped thousands of job seekers advance in their careers. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. We invest time to get to know each client and candidate personally. Vector places people in job opportunities that they are truly excited about. Interested in learning more? Visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com to see a full list of our current job opportunities and to find out what Vector Technical can offer you.
And welcome on back here to the NFL Draft Review Special here on Voice of the Land, a part of the Big Play Network. And thank you to our newest sponsor, Vector Technical, for jumping on board and kind of letting you know all about them as we move forward and showing you our new format here on the Voice of the Land with some other elements coming very soon. We take our own process. We have been about the word process. That's not been a naughty word here at Voice of the Land. And we go through.
We view it as a positive.
Yes, we do. Every single day. And that's why this show continues to grow and grow. And that's a credit to my brother across the way there, Nick Paulus, and our producer extraordinaire, Peter Tellett. And, of course, I am Kevin Arnold. And we went to break kind of talking about those. We had talked about the first two picks already, Greg Newsome and JOK. Paulus, if you want to run through some of these other picks. We talked about Anthony Schwartz, the third-round pick, some of the other picks that we kind of picked up, and let's kind of go through and see, did you have, like, a sleeper pick that the Browns got?
Sure.
Or did you question any of them? We'll go through that here in just 1 second, but let's go through those draft picks for the Browns.
Yeah, so we started off, pick 26, first round, Greg Newsome, cornerback out of Northwestern. The second round, pick 52, traded up from 59 to get Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, inside linebacker.
We're just showing off at this point.
At this point in time, it's just, it's nothing.
Sorry, Fontana.
Nothing but a G thing, baby. In number third round here for us, pick 91, Anthony Schwartz, wide receiver from Auburn. Dude ran a 4.25 40, so he can fly. His nickname's Flash, so I love it. Absolutely love it. Fourth round, James Hudson, pick 110, offensive tackle out of Cincinnati. Jason Gibbs, there we go. Jason Gibbs from the Browns Network absolutely loves that guy. He's been following him for a minute, so he loves him. Another fourth-round pick, my guy, Tommy Togiai, defensive tackle, Ohio State. If you were listening to the Saturday morning show, Paul and the Wild Colt on 850 ESPN Cleveland, that was my guy that I said that the Browns had to go out and get. Nostrapalos, baby. There we go. And then just to recap, the fifth round, we had two picks. We had Tony Fields II, another linebacker from West Virginia. They describe him they say he's West Virginia's JOK. So I love that pick right there. Richard LeCounte. I'm
gonna go with LeCounte, like
sure
the LeCounte from making it French from Sesame Street. Did you notice that, by the way? Like I tweeted that out. Like there were, because Jana actually, my fiance, recognized that.
Okay.
It probably just coincidence, but there were teams that were drafting like guys that started with the letter J. Like the Bengals picks are brought to you by the letter J.
I love it. Yeah.
The Raiders picks are brought to you by the letter.
Well, the Jets pick brought to you by was it Michael Carter, because they drafted two Mike Carters. It's the weirdest thing in the world. They drafted a running back and then I believe a cornerback, both named exactly Michael Carter. So hey, do what you got to do. I guess Jets. You're gonna nail one of those picks, I'm sure. But once again, the safety, Richard LeCounte from Georgia. And then sixth round pick, Demetric Felton, wide receiver, but he's going to be playing running back, UCLA. He's like 5'9", 200 pounds. Dude's a little bowling ball. He doesn't have a whole lot of like acceleration from what I was reading, but the guy is, he looks good. He looks like a kick return specialist. That's what he is. So, hey, I'm all for getting those guys here for us. But if you're going to ask me who my favorite pick of the day, the later round picks are, Tommy Togiai. Tommy Togiai is my dude. He didn't have a whole lot of snaps at Ohio State. Played 3 years, came out as a junior here for us. I think he had less than like 700 total snaps there for us. Only had like 297 this past year. So he doesn't have a whole lot of reps out there, but the reps he did have out there, he was easily the best defensive player in that in that Clemson game. He missed the Bama game because of COVID, close contact. So obviously that sucks. I don't think you're beating Bama anyways. At that they blew us out by like 50. It felt like, but he was by far the best defensive player against Clemson. And that's the type of player that you need. And I know a lot of people, a lot of the experts were comparing him to a Sheldon Richardson. Perfect. You lose Sheldon, you get a younger one in Tommy Togiai. Doesn't hurt that he's a Buckeye too. I know that, you're pretty pumped about that, Peter.
I love that.
Yeah. A lot, but I texted our buddy Mark, obviously, Mark Rupert, a huge Steelers fan. As soon as we got Tommy, he's like short arms. He won't last.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm sure that Tim, the owner of Vector, likes that too because he's a Buckeye.
Is he a Buckeye? Hey, there we go. Tommy, maybe you can get a sponsorship as well. There we go. And
for all the guys that get cut, they can contact Vector to find their next
no doubt
their next career.
The right person, the right job, the right time. Is that am I saying
the
that right?
first time? I think
the first time. Okay,
yeah, we'll get it.
I'm gonna get it down.
We'll get it.
I'm sorry.
We'll get you, Vector.
The right person, the right job, the first time.
There you go. I think that's
Vector Technical
on the second chance, on the second try.
Sorry,
but no, Tommy Togiai for me. Like I said, I called it yesterday, so I'm happy it worked out. I was really hoping we get Shawn Wade too, because the fact he fell to the 5th round to the Ravens, that kills me.
Yeah, that's kind of like one of the more underrated picks that I have. Like if there's like a surprise pick or kind of a sleeper pick for me or across the NFL, I'm going to go with the Ohio State guy. Shawn Wade, I know why he fell because asked to be the number 1 guy at corner at Ohio State.
He got beat pretty bad this past year.
He got beat pretty bad. When he was able to kind of play next to a top guy and play inside in that nickel and stuff, he's got ball skills there. And going to a team like the Ravens that are usually pretty good in their secondary, he's going to be coached up and he's going to make plays. You're going to see him make plays against the Browns. You're going to hear him make plays. Just like J.K. Dobbins, you're going to hear these guys make plays. It's Ohio State. They breed them to be professionals.
I know this isn't about the draft, but did you see the J.K. Dobbins little mixtape he threw out there the other day?
No.
Okay, so I think I still follow him on Twitter, but someone reposted this video of him running over his running back coach. His running back coach was holding up one of the bags. He's jumping over all these other bags. He runs straight through. He just throws the elbow. Literally, this guy goes flying, like 5 yards flying. I'm like, damn, JK, like take it easy on the guy. Like, guy has a family, man.
Oh, Myles Garrett, he's gonna be running through some people too.
My God,
the suit doesn't even fit him.
He was breaking out of that suit. He looked like the Hulk. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. And I mean, we'll get into it here in a little bit, but I mean, all of the former players, the current players, and the love that Cleveland showed them and showed why we are among the best fan bases, if not the best fan base in all of NFL. And
the Bernie chant was cool.
The Bernie chant was cool. Yeah. When Jarvis, Bernie, and Joe Thomas came out at the start of round 1, I mean, those are 3 guys that are fan favorites, not just because what they did in the field, but what they do off the field, and who Joe Thomas was, who Bernie was, and who he still is to this community. He's one of us. He got to play here. And Jarvis being the culture setter for everything that's happening now. He's the one that started. He blessed him. He blessed them and got this whole, from the player standpoint, got this whole chain rolling. Any picks that you may question on there from Andrew Berry, or is it that you feel pretty good about those picks, just got to see how they play, and your biggest question marks are kind of around the NFL?
So I don't have a whole lot of real question marks with Andrew Berry stuff. I'm not saying he was perfect. I'm sure that there might have been. Once again, I thought maybe we could have gotten Shawn Wade. Now with that pick, that would have been it would have been the Tony Fields pick. There for us. So, the guy out of West Virginia. I figured, hey, we already have a linebacker. You just drafted JOK. Why are you getting another one? That being said, though,
Special teams, you're
right,
you're really breeding competition now.
And don't get me wrong, Shawn Wade had a really bad year last year. Before that, he was All-American, but he had a really bad year last year. And I think a lot of factors went into that. The guy was trying to go straight to the draft, and then they were like, hey, you can come back. And he's like, okay. So, like, he missed training camp. A lot of things went into last year being rough for Shawn Wade.
Hey, maybe for him, the Ravens will be like Vector Technical. He'll be the right person at the right job the first time when he gets drafted there. I don't know.
There we go.
We'll
Look
see.
at that. Look at that.
It'll be unfortunate for us here in Cleveland and Ohio State fans, but
right? It'll suck to be us for a minute, but
I'm just sucking up to our new sponsor.
No doubt. But there were a couple of picks that I obviously questioned. In the first round, especially, there were two.
Okay.
I get why the Bengals did it. Going after Jamar Chase. I get it. You want to load up on offense, and they are loaded
Yes,
on
they
offense.
are.
But you still have the biggest question mark on the offensive line. I know you're getting Jonah Williams, and I believe you picked up, I can't remember, Retief or someone. He was another offensive lineman, but he's an older guy. You can't bank on that. You had the number one pick. You could have got the best offensive tackle in the draft. From what they're saying, like, a possible Hall of Fame level talent out there. So I would have gone after that. And a lot of people gave me crap the other day because they were like, oh, how many winning seasons do you have with Joe Thomas? Difference is, we didn't have a franchise quarterback. The Cincinnati Bengals, you do.
Yeah.
You got to protect them at all costs. What did we go out and get Baker last year? We didn't go out and get the number one wide receiver on the board.
Nope.
No, we went out and got, we got who we thought was the best tackle in the draft. And Jed Wills played out of his mind as a rookie.
Yes.
So we go from
you
there.
got Jack Conklin in free
And you
agency.
got Jack Conklin in free agency, which is something, once again, Cincinnati didn't do. They didn't get a Jack Conklin because there's no Jack Conklins out there.
Protect the franchise to have a franchise. I don't know if Cincinnati did that.
And
but
once again, I got into it with someone, and I told him, I was like, I guarantee you, if you gave Baker truth serum, he would take Jed Wills over Odell Beckham. Sorry. Just is. If you could shore up your blind side for the next 10 years or have a wide receiver be out there, we've seen Baker produce with Hollywood Higgins. Like you can deal with that. You can deal with an Anthony Schwartz and get him up to speed.
Yes.
You can't protect your backside. You can't protect that truck running over your kneecap. No. So I questioned that pick, and then also the Alex Leatherwood pick from the Raiders, pick 17. Apparently he was like the 60th ranked player, and they were like, "Oh well, yeah, we know he played tackle, but we're going to move him to guard."
Mike Mayock, man, he was so
he's
trusted on NFL Network.
He's a weird dude, man.
Something about the Raider, like that. What is it? The black hole, right? They call that.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. No, it was. That was a very questionable pick there for us as well. And then, in just sorry, I'm trying to. Here we go. Just to throw the Steelers under the bus. Our once again, our buddy Mark, he hit me up and he said, you know what, I thought he was going to be better. And then they thought Kendrick Green, the third round pick there for him, pick 87. He's a center. Mark was like, finally, we got our center. We picked up Najee Harris. Come to find out, the guy's only played center 3 games in his entire career. Like, so you go out and to fill the Pouncey role, the pro, probably a Hall of Famer, probably a Hall of Fame player. You go out and fill that with a guy that's only played 3 games at that spot. Like, good luck with that, Pittsburgh. I'm telling you right now, you should have went offensive line. And I get that, they missed out on, I can't remember the tackle's name. The Vikings picked up literally Darisaw, I think.
Yeah.
Darisaw went the pick right before them, and they probably would have went for him. But you could have picked up Dickerson. Dickerson was there. And you decided to pass on him to get Najee Harris. Some people love Najee Harris. I think he's a good running back. I think he'll do well, but he's not going to do as well as you think he will because they have no offensive line there.
He's a guy that they are going. I think we said this last week or a couple weeks ago, and when we heard Najee Harris was kind of that was being talked about for the Steelers. They're going to ask him to be Nick Chubb or even Derrick Henry, what Derrick Henry is now. King Henry in Tennessee is now. He wasn't that at the start of his career. It took a year and a half for him to really transition, but he was with a good organization, which allowed him to do that. Pittsburgh, we know, as much as we hate the Pittsburgh Steelers, and again, if you haven't been watching the show for very long, there was a show where I like emphasized that we hate the Pittsburgh Steelers, and everybody like loved it, or if they were Steelers fans, they hated it. Don't care. You can hate me all you want. We hate you. So
we hate you. Except for Mark. Love you, Mark.
Yeah, we love you, Mark. We love all of our, it's kind of fun back and forth with our Steelers fans.
Right.
We have a lot of friends that are Steelers fans. It's fun to go back and forth. And it's fun that we actually have competition with them again.
What competition? We crush them.
Yeah, I know.
They suck.
The rivalry is back.
The rivalry is back.
Like, we always had it going, but
Yeah.
we didn't really have wins to back it up. Now we got some wins.
We do now.
We got two, but they're kind of on that tail end. They're not in a position to have Najee Harris be Derrick Henry right away.
Right.
He needs time to develop, but they're going to try to bank on him to be their number one option. And that, to me, that is a surprising pick. I'll tell you, on the other side of our final break, I have a surprising pick that I was not so fond of in the NFL ranks. It does have a Browns flavor to it, but on the other side, we do have one final break, one final message from our newest sponsor, Vector Technical.
Are you looking for a career in manufacturing? Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that is partnered with some of the biggest and the best companies throughout northeastern Ohio. The recruiters at Vector Technical will coach you through the entire job process and will help you land an opportunity that you are truly excited about. Vector does not add any additional fees and offers benefits as well as free online skills training through Penn Foster. To learn more, visit www.vectortechnicalinc.com and make sure to check out our job board to see a full list of our current opportunities and apply.
Welcome back to the Voice of the Land's NFL Draft Review Special here on the Big Play Network. Kevin Arnold alongside Nick Paulus and Peter Tellep. And before our final break, we were kind of talking about maybe some of our what may have disappointed us or surprising picks during the NFL Draft that may have missed the mark. And I teased one that doesn't necessarily have to do with actual number pick in the draft. It is who was selected to be in Roger Goodell's chair to represent the fans in the first round.
Here we go.
Why is Pumpkinhead the face of the fans? He is He is a guy that is a Gen X, Gen or millennial that is trying to be a Gen Z clout chaser out there. He is trying to get in front of the camera as much as he can. You're wearing a fruit on your head, dude. You don't represent the fan base. You get your way into everything, maybe when you're not even supposed to be there, and you take opportunities from other fans to get in there. I don't see Pumpkinhead as the voice of the fans. We are among the voice of the fans, but I wouldn't even put us that high up the list because we haven't gotten that kind of credibility yet. But Pumpkinhead definitely doesn't deserve that kind of credibility. So they missed the mark. The NFL missed the mark on really shedding some light. Big Dog was there during round one. There were probably first responders in that box.
I saw
COVID.
Macho Man got up there.
Macho Man night one would have been a much better representation because he stole the show. Like, I know I've seen gifs of Macho Fan and seen him sometimes at the games, but he's not. It's just if the camera pans to him,
right,
it finds him. Somehow Pumpkinhead goes searching, finds the camera, and gets himself into everything. Get off my TV screens. Get out. You can be a fan from afar. I don't need to see or hear from you anymore. Thank you.
All right. Well, that was brought to you by Vector Technical.
He is not the right person for the right job.
No. So for me, like seeing Pumpkinhead up there, like, does it bother me? It doesn't bother. It clearly bothers you.
It bothers me.
Clearly bothers you.
There's him and a few other clout chasers really bother me.
And we're not going to go.
No.
We've already named one.
Yes.
So like we're going to hold off on that. It doesn't bother me. Like, I thought it was a cool little thing, for all the fans to get up there and hop up there. It was a little different. It had
an awkward feel to it, anyways.
It did have a little awkward feel to it.
I get the callback, like behind the scenes,
yeah,
this term in the business, callbacks and stuff. It was like a fun idea that I'll just say maybe overall the pick to have that chair up there was.
I think it missed the mark.
Missed the mark. Yeah.
I think it missed the mark. I'm not 100% sure that they'll ever bring that back, which is either way you look at it, like cool, whatever.
Yeah. The most awkward part was when Goodell would show them the pick, and there's like.
Just cool. Yeah, like,
hey
man, yeah,
hey man,
who the hell is JOK? Like, no, like you're right, yeah, Richard LeCount, like, right, yeah, no, so yeah, a little different. I'm sure that they probably won't bring it back. It wasn't that big of a hit to me.
No.
It was kind of cool at first, and I was like,
then
okay,
became corny very quickly.
we're good, we're good. I thought it was a first round thing and then be done. No, apparently not. But no, for Pumpkinhead to be up there, I mean, I don't think he speaks for the fans. You know, like a lot of people like Pumpkinhead. A lot of people don't like Pumpkinhead. For me, it's one of those things where like the guy found his niche. He's going to roll with it. He gets on the screen. So like he's getting that screen time. So I guess something's working there for him. Is it my cup of tea? No, I would never put a fruit on my head and, parade around in a Captain 31 jersey. It's not for me though. Okay. Yeah. But if he wants to live his life that way,
he's got a captain patch.
I know. If he wants to live his life that way, that's fine. But for me personally, like I'm good without it. I'm much more of the macho fan anyways. I love that dude. Anytime I can throw a gif out there of Macho Man, I'm doing it. Like that dude is awesome. I like that guy.
You're getting into the right
Shout out Macho Man.
Yeah.
Macho fan. Whatever you name yourself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Macho Man. But like
step into a Slim Jim.
You're marrying into the right family when as soon as Macho Fan pops on the screen, like you're getting all like the gifts and the texts, about like old school wrestling and like that's the stuff I'm really into.
Yeah.
Like mother-in-law, future awesome mother-in-law. She's already got that awesome tag by like calling that out. She almost lost it by trying to tip picks because her feed was ahead because we got YouTube TV, so we're a little bit behind. And I wasn't into, at least the first 2 days, like I wasn't into the tipping picks. So the first 2 rounds, like I tried not to go on Twitter and see that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not like reacting to every pick. I could probably get, if I really wanted clout, I could probably be tweeting about every little thing and live tweeting and stuff.
Sure.
I know my niche and tweeting is not one.
That ain't it.
The only way I guess you get some run on Twitter is if you kick a field goal through the field goal post.
I saw you got a couple hundred views and likes on that, and I like that. That was what was that, about 30, 35?
It was only 20.
Really?
Yeah, that's only 20.
Wow.
I mean, I thought
it was farther back than that. It looked farther.
Yeah, it was
straight dead on.
I think it's almost at the old PK PAT spot.
Yeah, the old PAT spot, they would set it up so the ball would snap from the 2 or the 2.5 yard line, snap it back to right around the 7 yard line. So it looked, I thought it was a little bit farther back than that.
I don't know, like the measurement.
It might have been dead on where they're kicking field goals at now, like the PATs now.
It felt longer than 20. That's what they put up on the board, but based on where the end zone was and where we were kicking at, it felt a little bit longer than that. I'm not trying to like add any yardage to what I did, but like
I think it would have been good from 35-40. Like it looked good.
Yeah, and like I knew I was closer, so some of my soccer background came in like, hey, like I don't have to crush this, but the majority of my soccer background really came through because there's a reason I didn't make a career playing soccer, and I'm a much better coach. It's much better for me to say, do what I say, not what I do, because I have a lot of experiences or mistakes for the kids to kind of feed off of that I can tell them about. There's a reason why I was able to kick that field goal, because I kicked a lot of field goals in soccer. And in soccer, a field goal is not a good thing.
Just way over the top. Huh?
Yeah, way over the top. So it was, I kind of harken back to those days. I knew exactly what I needed to do. So, I know James Carrelli, one of our buddy over at OMS, and now doing great things out there in Montana.
Yeah, he's doing great out there.
Yeah,
he got nominated for an award out there.
Yeah, he did. He's like one of the 2 finalists. Good. I mean, that's what
he's crushing it. He is crushing it. And good for you, James.
In the words of Kevin Stefanski, he's doing the work. He's putting in the work out there in Montana. But he was saying how, and some people kind of were like mentioning like Phil Dawson, like I am not. I like Phil, like I can bow down to you. Like I'm nowhere close. I just figured to have a little bit of fun, because it was draft experience was kind of an up and down roller coaster of, you know,
Right.
an actual experience. You know,
A lot of people, a lot of just like all over the place, not really managed that well.
it wasn't really managed
Yeah.
that well, you know, because I understand the fully vaccinated zone.
Right.
Because it makes sense. You know, you're trying to keep people
course.
distance, but you feel more comfortable if you can kind of have a box of Browns fans together right up in front of the stage, or
Right.
Jags fans or Raiders fans still sitting together and not have to distance them to feel more comfortable based on at least the information we have now about the vaccines. Whether it's right or wrong, like that's not a philosophical conversation.
Right. No,
That'll
yeah.
take us way off the rails.
Right. Yeah. No.
It makes sense for the fully vaccinated zone, but I think that was the only zone that was well regulated.
Okay.
Because when they left out or brought out the tickets for you to go get through that NFL One Pass app, you know, they said that they were only opening a select few to each session, trying to, you're going to have a lot of people down there, but try to space them out as much as you
Sure.
can and try to have as many protocols in place. It was followed in certain areas, not in other areas. Some lines too long, other lines like no one even there.
Right. Well, just so I saw you do the kicking.
Yeah.
Were you able to do any of the other stuff out there?
So once you got through the field goal, like you would go straight into another line for the Hail Mary pass. That was another thing. Like you couldn't select one or the other. You had to,
Yeah.
you know, if you got frustrated with the line of the field goal, like, and you gave up, now you missed an opportunity to go through the Hail Mary pass. If that was maybe something more you wanted to do,
Gotcha.
they forced you to go through the line to the field goal. Once we kind of noticed you could maybe bypass once you got to the final couple rows of lines
Yeah.
to the Hail Mary, too late. Like we're so locked into that line. But we did go outside. The line for the jump was pretty short. It was only 30 and a half.
30 and a half.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn. That's pretty good.
Really?
I
My back was
so
hurting.
30 and a half. That's pretty damn good, Kevin. Especially for, I mean, you've never done that before, I'm assuming.
No,
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm asking, you know, the PT next to me,
Yeah.
you know, she's telling me like, because she's seen all those kind of
Right.
those exercises and stuff, and some of the athletes she was around through her clinicals and everything, and I'm like, what is the actual form to this?
Right.
And when you go up there, you gotta like reach your arm up
Oh, yeah.
to, you know, kind of get
You
where
gotta
the thing's gonna
swat
set.
at the little swivel, like little. I don't even know
I
how
don't know,
to
like
describe 'em.
like plastic sticks, yeah,
basically,
plastic
yeah.
sticks basically. There was one person, a couple people, a couple families in front of us, like she was like emphatic about it. She jumped up and
Wham!
swatted that thing.
Yeah.
She was all into it. Just, I mean, really wanted to run a 40, but didn't get a chance. But I can always measure out a 40
Yeah.
and run that if I really want to know. But I'm sure it's nowhere even close to what I
So-
used to be.
So I went to the Dallas one
Okay.
whenever we drafted Baker Mayfield and
Yep.
Denzel Ward.
Oh,
went
that'd
down
be an
there.
amazing one to be at.
It was awesome. It was fantastic. Long story. We'll get into that some other time, I'm sure. But we went and did the jump the jump as well, and it was Tyler, Mark, Bill, and then myself. And Tyler jumped up. He got, I think it was 24 inches. Okay.
Mhm.
And Mark then jumped, I think he got like 19 and a half inches, 20 maybe.
Mhm.
I have all of these videos.
You
on
do?
here. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah. So like I take the videos for all the guys, then Bill does it. I think Bill got like 18 or maybe 19 on the dot.
I'm not feeling so bad anymore.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So like Bill is, we have like these weird competitions between he and I. He is like literally half my height, half my weight. Like he is half of me.
Yeah.
But we always have these competitions. He thinks he's better at this than me, and I'm better at that, and we just kind of go back and forth. So seeing a 140-pound guy, you know, jump up and get 19, and he's an athletic guy.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, no, you won't beat that. You won't beat that. I jump up, I get 23. Like right on the dot, like, oh, in your face, you know, 300 pounds in your face. It was fantastic. Like easily best moment. And then we ended up getting Baker and Denzel that day. I'm like,
Yeah.
best moment, me hitting 23 inches. It was a lot of fun.
That
Yeah.
was, but it was still like a unique experience. And there's, man, to be at that Dallas one when Baker and Denzel, especially the franchise being selected that day, to kind of go back to that. Like my memory of that year will be being at the first game that Baker got in and being at that
Yeah.
Jet game when he got in the game and kind of where things have gone from that point. Those memories are what we live for as sports fans, and it's one of those that just stay with you for the rest of your life. But it's kind of cool to have those with your buddies. I gotta, before we get out of here, gotta shout out the city of Cleveland, putting on a show once again. All Browns fans out there,
a lot of love coming through. Like ESPN, I know
Yeah.
Louis Riddick, posted a tweet and said that this was by far the best draft experience that they've had at ESPN. His time there, and that's been like 10 years. So like, a lot of love coming out.
And if you ever want to know how much Rashard Higgins, Hollywood Higgins, loves this town, players that were up on those chalk talks and going up on the stage, like if they were around, they weren't really, I don't know if it was mandated or not, but they weren't supposed to be doing autographs or kind of taking pictures with fans getting too close. Rashard Higgins did his chalk talk and then was taking pictures and autographs. Like, he did it for a while. His security was trying to bring him back and everything. Pull him away. Like, we were just kind of watching it from afar, but they were trying to pull him away. And he starts going like rapid fire. Like, everybody get your cameras ready. I'm going to try to get as many of these as I can before they really pull me.
It's Hollywood, man. Like, he's such a good dude.
He's a good dude. He loves this town. And this town, like I said.
Pay him, Andrew Barry.
Pay him. Pay the man. Pay Hollywood. Pay him like a Hollywood star,
No doubt. Dude should be making triple what he easily making triple.
Easily making.
And he will.
He will.
He's going to ball out this year.
But congrats to Cleveland, and of course, shout out to GV Artwork. No sponsorship or anything, but just shout out to GV
No
Artwork.
sponsorship yet, GV Artwork. So,
but shout out for these great draft shirts as well to kind of commemorate the feat.
Awesome.
I think Cleveland put himself even more on the map, if not already, for more big events in the future, whether through sports or some other form of entertainment. We will welcome it all in this town, and we will do it big as only Cleveland can. But that is going to wrap it up for this special edition of the Voice of the Land, our NFL Draft Review special for my brother Nick Paulus, our producer extraordinaire. Behind that proverbial glass, Peter Tellep. I am Kevin Arnold, reminding all of you Browns fans, sports fans out there, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. And as we say every single week, yes, we're Marvel fans, but we truly mean it, and this line will stick with us forever. We love you all, 3,000. We will be back possibly for a Mother's Day special next week, all along the Big Play Network.